Hey everyone, I'm Aaron Poling, this is Aaron McClorey. You are watching Unnecessary Roughness After the Whistles NFL football segment. So, big weekend, biggest weekend of the year. 2 teams left, Super Bowl. Let's do it.
Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers. 2 hotshot quarterbacks, 2 amazing offensive head coaches, and just a whole lot of big-name players on both offense and defense here.
It should be fantastic. I'm really excited for the head coaching matchup. So San Francisco ran the ball down Green Bay's throat because Green Bay struggled in the run defense. Kansas City is a little similar where they do struggle a little bit in the run defense. And I'm interested to see if Kyle Shanahan comes in the same game plan where Jimmy Garoppolo only throws the ball, probably more realistically 20 times this game, and see if they can get an offensive flow like that.
Oh yeah, I see no way Jimmy Garoppolo only throws 8 times, especially with Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. I don't see the Chiefs' offense bogging down like the Packers did. Like, that offense is just way too hot right now. Even if they don't score 51 points, which I don't expect them to, but we've seen the Niners let up 40-plus already this year, so it's very possible we have another shootout Super Bowl on our hands. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen because both defenses have pretty good secondaries on each side, pretty good pass rushes, but yeah, it's really that Chiefs run defense that makes me nervous.
The key for San Francisco is they can't fall behind. If they fall behind, they're not going to be able to run the ball the way they want to. If they can win the coin toss or get the first score, I mean, if you lose the coin toss, stop them, get the first score. It's even better for your game plan. But if they fall behind, they have to throw it. I'm leaning more towards Kansas City in that situation, just because Patrick Mahomes is a generational quarterback that we may never see again. And Jimmy Garoppolo, though he's great, he's not quite Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that. And just the play action from from San Francisco, I feel like that could come into play a lot, if they don't fall behind.
Especially if they can run the ball.
Exactly, and I see no way they can't run the ball on Sunday, especially because the Chiefs linebackers, that's the weak point of their defense by far, and the Niners' offensive line is just so awesome. Both teams' offensive lines are awesome, to be honest with you. I expect a great day from both quarterbacks. I really don't expect a whole lot to get done from either defensive line. Even though both teams have pretty good pass rushes, I feel like they're going to get stymied.
Yeah, so I do. Let's go ahead and go position by position, not necessarily position by position,
For sure.
group by group. So let's start with quarterback. I think we're both in agreement that Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Jimmy Garoppolo is very, very worth the Super Bowl. He absolutely belongs, but Patrick Mahomes is just so much better than him and pretty much everybody else in the NFL at this point.
Yeah. So all right, let's go skill position: running backs, tight ends, wide receivers.
Oh yeah, because Kansas City, they really don't have a semblance of a run game unless it's on the goal line, it seems like. They give it to Damian Williams almost to just fool defenses, they might run the ball. They don't really have that threat, but they don't need it because their passing game is just so lethal. You've got Tyreek Hill, who is the fastest player in the league, Mecole Hardman, who is almost as fast as Tyreek Hill, I want to say. He's an absolute blazer. Travis Kelce, who is top 2 tight end of the league, maybe the best tight end of the league. There's no tight end in the NFL better than him that's not in this game.
Yeah. If there is one, it's going to be George Kittle from San Francisco.
And that's where the debate comes in because Kelce can block, Kittle can block, but Kittle's a better blocker.
Yeah.
But Travis Kelce is just so good at getting open. And then with the speed of Hardman and Hill, and the arm of Mahomes, and the play calling of Andy Reid, this offense is just almost impossible to stop, it seems like.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Let's get to the trenches. The trenches, I think, is where San Francisco has their biggest advantage. Their offensive line battered the Green Bay Packers defense, and they couldn't do anything about it. No running back was getting touch until 2-3 yards down the field. And if so, they're just getting a little hand tap like that.
Exactly. Raheem Mostert, 29 carries for 228 yards, I believe. 4 touchdowns. I know that for a fact. Just completely ran all over the Packers.
If we went out to the football field right now, I probably couldn't run 228 yards without stopping. So that's how dominant he was.
Exactly. That's 2 touchdowns and 28 yards worth.
Yeah.
Just alone.
He ran 2 fields.
He ran 2 fields, and Green Bay just was powerless to stop him. I don't think he even had a single run that was a loss of yardage. That's how
That
dominant.
wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know that for a fact, to be honest with you, because it was 27-0, and I went to sleep at halftime.
Yeah.
I really did. I was done. I'm Green Bay's not coming back from this.
No.
And The thing is, though, Kansas City's offensive line, that's pretty good too.
Yes.
Like, Mitchell Schwartz, Eric Fisher, that's a really awesome tackle duo. And Patrick Mahomes is also just so good at breaking the pocket, just moving the pocket, throwing on the run. Like, it almost, I don't really want to say, like, neutralizes the edge rushers, but, like, you have to play a completely different game.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Mahomes is Lamar Jackson out there, because he's always looking to throw. Always looking to throw. But, like, he's just so quick. He's getting away from sacks constantly. And while I do think San Francisco's O-line is better, Jimmy Garoppolo's not scrambling like Mahomes is.
Let's transition to the other side of the ball, defense. San Francisco got a dominant defensive line.
Oh, Lord, yes, they do. They're only missing, like, rotational players, too. I'm pretty sure Nick Bosa, Dee Ford, DeForest Buckner, Eric Armstead, Solomon Thomas, all 5 of those, like, former top 10 picks. Oh, wait, no, Dee Ford wasn't, but, yeah, that's 4 former top 10 picks at defensive line, and then Dee Ford, who they just signed in free agency from the Chiefs, ironically.
Yeah.
And now Kansas City, they've got Frank Clark, they've got Terrell Suggs returning to the Super Bowl, great for him, and they've also got Chris Jones on the interior. So both teams have a really nice pass rush, but just...
It's, again, kind of like the offensive line, where San Francisco's D-line is so great that...
It just doesn't compare.
Yeah.
But, like, I just don't see Kansas City's pass rush especially having any effect. Like, San Francisco absolutely has to get after Mahomes if they're going to win. If they're not getting after Mahomes, I don't care how great Richard Sherman is in coverage. Mahomes is going to find something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Richard Sherman is a zone corner. He plays that zone better than anybody else, but Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to find a hole in that zone. So it really makes me nervous for San Francisco's defense, but I'm also nervous for Kansas City's defense as well.
That's one thing I'm also interested in. Is Andy Reid going to avoid Richard Sherman, or are they going to challenge him? Because I feel if there's any head coach in the league offensively that can find a way to take advantage of Richard Sherman only being in a zone, it's going to be Andy Reid.
That's true. And if there's any way possible you can isolate Tyreek Hill or even Mecole Hardman on Richard Sherman, you just send either one of them on a streak and say go, and just hope Mahomes can hit him downfield, because it should be 6 if you can get him one-on-one, although I really don't see any scenario where that happens.
No. In the Super Bowl, you can't just leave Tyreek Hill one-on-one.
With
you
anybody.
You have to at least shadow him with a safety.
I mean, there's just so many weapons on Kansas City's offense. You can't, like that's why I say Mecole Hardman might be the X factor here, because he's so fast as well. If you can isolate him on someone slower and just be like, okay, streak, deep post, Patrick will hit you, because you know he's got a cannon for an arm. He can make any throw. So.
And that brings us to transition. We've been talking about Richard Sherman already, but the defensive backs. It's pretty interesting. Both teams, I'd say corners probably sit in Fran, but when you move back to the safety spots, probably say Kansas City with Tyrann Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu, he was playing the best football of his career, and he's been an All-Pro already. Like, what a great postseason this guy's had. What a great stretch run for Tyrann Mathieu.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I love to see it. I mean, he was on the Houston Texans last season for only 1 year. The Arizona Cardinals literally cut this guy to sign Sam Bradford and to have enough cap space to sign a couple of depth offensive linemen.
Yeah, and that's why Arizona's not in the Super Bowl, because they're not very well managed.
So hopefully Kyler Murray can take them somewhere else. But this isn't about the Arizona Cardinals. This is about the team that Tyrann Mathieu, the team that the guy that left the Arizona Cardinals behind.
Give me your prediction. Who wins?
Man, I keep flip-flopping. I really do. I said San Francisco on the radio show. I think I'm going to go Kansas City now.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kansas City.
I really am, because I see no scenario no matter how good that running attack is, that's going to get stopped eventually. Andy Reid's going to find a way to scheme something up. Like, even Green Bay got a couple of stops on San Francisco, even if they just couldn't do anything on the offensive side of the ball until it was too late. That is not going to be the case on Sunday. Patrick Mahomes is not going to go cold like that. And if he does, well, then the Niners are probably just going to run away with it. But, again, I don't see that happening.
All right, transitioning to other teams that are pretty poorly run. This is going to include the Arizona Cardinals. Give me your best coaching hiring of the offseason, and then give me your worst. Well, let's go best first.
Go best first. Now, This is another one I go back and forth on because I almost want to say Matt Rule for the Carolina Panthers, but I really don't know what he brings to the NFL table. So that being said, I'm going to go Ron Rivera to the Washington Redskins.
Gotta agree with that.
Because he's a defensive mind. He's been to a Super Bowl before. He's taught an excellent linebacking core, an excellent front seven. And that's really what you can get in Washington next year because you've got, Jonathan Allen, Ryan Anderson, Montez Sweat. You'd probably get Chase Young in this first round. You also got Ryan Kerrigan, who is, I don't know if he's ever made an All-Pro yet, but he's just such an underrated pass rusher. He's awesome. So Ron Rivera could have a field day with this front seven he's got, assuming, Washington doesn't screw it up.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about Matt Rule real quick.
Let's do it.
So the thing I like about Matt Rule is that he is an offensive-minded head coach. And with Cam Newton, either he's going to be back or I don't think he's going to be back personally. I don't know. He's a little too injury prone because he doesn't protect himself. He's very much like Andrew Luck in a way where he wants the big hit to get the extra yards where that's your franchise quarterback. You want them to get out of bounds.
And he just wasn't throwing well. The 2 games he played, his arm didn't look right. I don't know if it was his shoulder, if it was his ankle, or what.
He's a notoriously slow starter for what it's worth.
Like his mechanics just looked especially off, especially in comparison to like previous years where he was like spot on.
But the thing I like about Matt Rule is he is an offensive-minded coach coming out of the Big 12. And anyone who watches college football knows there's a lot of offense being played and not a lot of defense.
Exactly.
But Matt Rule, you're probably going to get a young quarterback. So I don't know if they take one this year, if they stick with Kyle Anderson. I don't know if you can after the way he finished, but he had a great start.
You can't go with Will. They took Will Greer in the 3rd round last season, but he had 1 game, and he was dreadful before getting hurt, and then Kyle Allen went right back in.
Yeah.
So I'm really more excited to see what Matt Rule does with Christian McCaffrey and Curtis Samuel.
Oh, yeah.
Because Christian McCaffrey alone
is a weapon.
That's an offensive super weapon, literally. Like, you can use him in so many different ways. Matt Rule, that's the whole reason you hire an offensive coach is, get everything you can out of Christian McCaffrey. So, hopefully Matt Rule can do that.
All right, now, who was your worst hiring?
Worst hire? I want to say Cleveland with Kevin Stefanski. I know what you're going to say, but I'm not going to say that one because I really don't have any opinion on it. I'm not really 100% sure. I guess the Browns really didn't have any better choice because nobody really wanted to go there. Matt Rule rejected them. I have no idea who else is going to go there.
Yeah. That's not a destination many people want to go.
Not at all.
Not after the circus this year. You may have the talent, but everyone's off on their own program. You got to reshape that culture. There's too much to do for any coach that is worth their salt to want to do.
And then the ownership. How do you know you're not just going to get fired after 2 years if you don't immediately turn it around anyway?
Yeah.
John Dorsey, no matter what you think about him, he wasn't doing a brutal job.
No, he was getting talent. I just think that he picked a coach in Freddie Kitchens who he could manipulate.
That's true, and that was an awful, awful move, hiring Freddie Kitchens. But, I don't think that was a fireable offense, especially not after 2 seasons in which, he brought the Browns
They were decent the first season, though.
Yeah.
And, when he took over as the intern, decent.
And, that's what, ticks me off, because John Dorsey brought them out of the absolute pit.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if they're up to respectable yet, but they're not, way down, literally in the dumpster fire.
They're not 1-31 in the last 2 seasons.
With the same head coach. They gave Hugh Jackson 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
That.
But not Freddie Kitchens.
I can't.
All right, so you were expecting me to say
Joe Judge of the
New York Giants. Yes. That is correct. But I'm gonna throw a little monkey wrench in here and talk about a different coach hiring.
Do it.
Mike McCarthy of the Dallas Cowboys.
Now,
that is an awful, 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 awful coaching decision. He couldn't win with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. What makes you think he's going to win in Dallas with Dak Prescott?
Now, you know how you just said, Freddie Kitchens was a hire because he could be controlled?
Yeah.
That is exactly what it looks like Jerry Jones is doing with Mike McCarthy.
And that's why Jason Garrett was there for what seemed like my whole entire life.
Oh, my goodness. This year was the Cowboys' best chance to win because Amari Cooper, it looks like he got benched in the final game that mattered for the Cowboys. And he's an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, and so is Dak Prescott. They've got to pay both of those guys and Byron Jones. One of those three is gone for sure.
And you can't lose Dak. You have no chance if you don't have the quarterback in the NFL.
And I don't think Dak's getting $40 million. He might get $35 million.
Dak should not set the market. He is not worth that.
Well, because here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes is getting paid this offseason too. He's going to get an extension.
He's going to be the highest paid player in the NFL.
And
he deserves it.
He absolutely does. I also feel like Deshaun Watson might get extended too, because both him and Patrick Mahomes are extension eligible.
Yeah.
And, Dak Prescott, obviously, he's unrestricted. So he's going to get some form of tag from the Dallas Cowboys, whether it be the transition tag where they can match any offer, or the franchise tag where it's like, hey, you're ours for at least a year.
Yeah.
In which case, who knows? Maybe he'll hold out, maybe he won't. But the Amari Cooper situation just does not look good, especially because they traded a first-round pick for him, and then that's when Dak caught fire.
Yeah.
And on top of, Jason Garrett bungled that, and I don't know if Mike McCarthy's going to be able to do anything better. The one thing you can say about Mike McCarthy is that he can coach at an NFL level.
He has won a Super Bowl. Granted, he had one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time.
He also had a great defense. He didn't carry that team. I wouldn't say Rodgers carried that team. I'd say he joined a team that was already very hot and excellent. The Packers had an excellent defense that season. They really did. They won the NFC Championship game 21-7, and B.J. Raji had a pick six to close that game out. So it wasn't Aaron Rodgers doing that. Nick Collins also had a pick six in the Super Bowl.
Okay. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about our favorite subject, New York Giants, because we have a disease nickname for Dave Gettleman. It's called the smartest guy in the room disease. It's where you try to make a move way out of left field to try to prove that you're the smartest dude in the NFL. And that's what he did when he hired Joe Judge. I get you want the Patriots way, but let's be honest, how many of Bill Belichick's, underlings have actually worked out?
Mike Vrabel this year was the first time. I'm not joking.
Yep.
And, maybe that's the reason why. And if that's the reason why Dave Gettleman, then, there's a reason we're talking.
I will eat my words.
Then there's a reason we're talking about you right now.
Yeah.
So, Dave Gettleman just does so much of this. I don't think it was even a good idea to fire Pat Shurmur.
No. Not with a second-year quarterback.
The offense certainly wasn't the issue. You had a defense that was just as bad as the Lions were this year. This defense was an absolute nightmare. You had Saquon Barkley, who was injured half the year. You could tell he came back way too early because he didn't have that burst. And by the end of the year, that burst was back. Daniel Jones was a turnover machine, which
he was a rookie quarterback, though.
Exactly. Maybe you can coach.
Peyton Manning was a turnover machine his rookie year, too.
That's what I'm saying. And, hopefully he has the mental fortitude to get past that. I'm thinking he might. And the Giants also had a great receiving core, an excellent receiving core. So why would you fire the offensive coach? Get rid of everybody on your defensive staff.
Oh, yeah.
But your offensive-minded head coach, he wasn't the issue. Go ahead and fire him next year, sure, but you're also not going to be good next season.
Yeah.
There was no way they were going to be good in the 2020 season.
All right, real quick. 2 words. Who do the Lions take with the 3rd overall pick?
Chase Young, I hope.
Jeff Okudah. I can't say his name right.
Okudah,
yeah.
Jeffrey Okudah.
Jeffrey Okudah.
Or Derek Brown. Here's my 3 top picks: Chase Young, Jeffrey Okudah, Derek Brown.
All right, that's what we're going to end on. That's all the time we have for this week, folks. Catch us next week. Looks like our producer, Kevin Lepper, has a stat for us or something he wants to say. What do you got for us, Kevin?
Hey, everybody. I just wanted to go on the record here and give my predictions for who's going to win the Super Bowl.
Who is it?
It is obviously going to be the San Francisco 49ers. For the sole reason, is because they are wearing white jerseys. Because the past 13 Super Bowl winners out of 15 have been wearing white jerseys. So I'd say they got the odds in their favor. So your San Francisco 49ers are your Super Bowl champions because they're wearing white jerseys. You heard it here first, on After the Whistle.
All right, KC, San Fran, KC.
That's all the time we have today, folks. Joining us next week, where we're going to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit and talk about some other off-season news that have happened. For Aaron McClorey, I'm Aaron Poling, our producer Kevin Leppers. Thank you.
What is going on, GVTV? Welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Misconduct. I'm Kevin Lepper.
I'm Aaron Poling.
I'm Aaron McClorey.
Let's get right into it. So, here we are, post-All-Star break. Red Wings, still the Red Wings.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate.
It's tough. Sitting at a negative 90 goal differential right now.
They're probably going to break a record.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Anthony Mantha also just got announced that he's probably out for the season.
Yeah, that doesn't help anything at all.
Helps the tank, of course.
Yeah, so not a good time to be a Red Wings fan, but hey, when is it ever a good time to be a Red Wings fan?
From about 1994 to about 2013.
Yeah.
There was a long while, so I mean,
I have full faith they'll be good again.
yeah, you just got to give it time.
You gotta trust the Yzer plan.
I mean, look what Yzerman
Yes.
built in Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
See, the thing about rebuilds is fans usually get impatient and
Especially fans that have had such a long run of success.
Oh, yeah, for
like
sure.
Detroit.
If you're used to the Red Wings having all the success and then suddenly they're bad, there's definitely some fans that get impatient and, don't understand that rebuilds don't happen overnight.
Yeah, you
They
can't.
take time. They take years. So you just got to be patient. You got to trust your GM, trust your coaches, trust your players.
You also need a little bit of luck, too.
That is true,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the draft lottery. We'll watch us probably end up get the sixth pick again.
the good thing is we won't be able to do that because you
yeah,
can
worse than
only drop
We're-
3
we're-
spots,
yeah.
thankfully, mercifully.
Yep. So
The good thing is though is this year's draft is pretty deep. So even if we don't get Lafreniere, say we get the 2nd pick, Quentin Byfield looks like he's going to be a number 1 center in the NHL. He's a big 6'4" stud. That's what he is. He's nice. I've watched a couple of his games and juniors, and he looks like he's going to fit the bill.
yeah. So hopefully everything will.
And then
work out
even after that, Tim Stenzel, he's probably going to go number 4. He played for Team Germany in the World Cup, not World Cup, the World Juniors.
Bring him along and
Yeah,
him and Mo Sider.
He looked pretty good. I mean, he plays for the same team that Mo Sider played for. So this year's draft, I mean, obviously 1 and 2. One's going to be the gap between Lafreniere and Byfield is probably this, where the gap between 1 and 2, which is Lafreniere and Byfield, to like 4 through probably 20, or 4 through 10 is probably like that much, and then after that it only drops off probably about that much.
Yeah.
It's projected to be a super deep 1st and 2nd round this year.
Yeah, that's good for the Wings.
Very good for the Wings.
It's a good time to be bad, is what
Yeah.
it is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, is there any other Red Wings news you guys want to get?
Alexis Lafreniere just got suspended for 3
he
games.
did.
Just
For
threw an
a-
elbow.
for
That was
a
bad.
rather
He just-
dirty hit.
That wasn't even like, he wasn't even trying to hide it or anything. He
No,
just like
he
rammed
just-
his elbow.
No,
in
that
his
guy
head.
must have said something about his family because that
man.
looked like he was headhunted.
That was,
literally.
yeah.
It looked very intentional, yeah.
Well, at least we know Lafreniere's not soft.
I wouldn't necessarily say not being dirty doesn't mean you're not soft because
Fair.
the thing is, though, is if he does end up with the Red Wings and he looks like he might need to be reined in a little bit. This is his 2nd time getting suspended this year. The first was for abuse of an official. But if Tyler Bertuzzi can rein it in, because I think it was last year when they were playing on the island, the Red Wings were up 3-1. He took a bad penalty. The Islanders scored 3 goals, and suddenly Bertuzzi's on the bench for the rest of the game, and he got sat down for the next 3. So if they can rein him in, I'm pretty sure they can rein Lafreniere in.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I'm sure Lafreniere knows himself that he can't be doing that in the NHL.
And he wouldn't get away with any of that. I mean, obviously, he didn't get away with it this time, getting suspended 3 games.
There's
but-
also just a lot more to lose in the NHL
yeah,
in
for
general.
sure. Yeah, definitely.
So speaking of suspensions, George Peros is going to be in Edmonton tonight, the Battle of Alberta.
This would be a great game even without George Peros and everything that's going to come with that. But continue.
George Peros is there for a reason
Yes, he
because
is.
the last time that these two teams got together,
Things got intense.
Matthew Tkachuk,
Did
being,
some Matthew Tkachuk there.
being the kid of Keith Tkachuk, not surprised, took like 3 runs at Zach Kassian,
Yeah.
and Zach Kassian had enough and just tried to beat the absolute brakes off of him. I mean,
Yeah.
Tkachuk didn't fight back, but
That
Kassian
looked bad.
Cassian
Cassian's
still
just, like,
landed
Yeah.
some
throwing
shots.
it around, and Cassian said he's not going to hold back either. So I'm really interested in seeing how this goes.
Oh, Tkachuk's living rent-free in his head.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And
definitely
I
for
mean,
sure.
Yeah. And I have no idea if Zach Cassian's going to be able to get him back the way he wants to, in all honesty.
No.
Yeah. No,
Like, Matthew
I don't
Tkachuk
think
doesn't
so.
really get hit either.
Yeah, he understands his role on the team, and he
Yeah.
understands that he can be gritty, but he also knows that he needs a score for his team. Because the Calgary Flames are struggling, especially with their 2 top stars, Sean Monahan and Johnny Gaudreau. I mean, granted, they kind of broke out a little bit last night with Monahan having 2 goals and Gaudreau having 2 assists, but Tkachuk knows that his team's struggling offensively and that he can't put his team into too much of a deficit, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least one tilt tonight.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
there's I would expect it.
Like some sort of like shoving match, someone taking a fight for Tkachuk even.
Oh, yeah.
Like even if Tkachuk doesn't drop the gloves, I can see someone else doing it for him.
Yeah. It's going to be quite the matchup to watch.
Yeah, and then
Tonight.
they run it back on Saturday, too, so it's going to be an interesting weekend.
Yeah.
And then
sure.
That's
if
got to be Hockey Night in Canada, right?
Oh Lord, yes. And then if the season ended today, that'd be round 1 of the playoffs, the Battle of Alberta.
Oh, that'd be
That'd
fantastic.
be just a riot.
That would
Edmonton
be.
would have home ice advantage for the moment, but like no matter who has home ice advantage there, just throw the rule book out the window, throw logic out the window, and just watch.
That series could potentially break the record for most penalty minutes in
Oh,
a
Lord,
series.
Just
I
bring,
would- yeah.
especially if someone lands a hit on McDavid. Oh boy.
Okay, let me rephrase that. It could potentially break the modern record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that's
it's
true.
not
It's not
beating
old-time hockey,
Yeah, it's
you know.
not beating the Battle of Alberta, in the 70s.
Right.
Lord, yeah.
Right.
But like seriously, if Matthew Tkachuk takes like some kind of shot on Connor McDavid, I can see something going really, really wrong.
Stuff would happen.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Tkachuk even knows that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like there's certain players that
You know you can't go
Yeah, other
after.
players know you can't hit them. Like you don't see dudes taking runs at Sidney Crosby because the whole entire
Well, the
Pittsburgh.
Washington Capitals even did.
Well, Tom Wilson did, but Tom Wilson
Yeah.
takes a run at everybody. He's like
Right.
Tom
he's like
Wilson's
the
Tom
one
Wilson.
exception. He doesn't care.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He has no give a crap meter. One thing I also want to get into is some midseason trophies. Who do y'all have for the Norris?
The Norris, I mean, I seriously don't think like you can do anything other than John Carlson.
Yeah, John Carlson has to have it.
I agree. Yeah, he's been.
Like I said, that if you had maybe 1 or 2 before this, maybe you go somewhere else, like a little voter fatigue. I know some people don't believe in that, but if it's his first one, the season he's having, you can't give it to anyone else.
So I want to talk about a couple of defenders out west who are potentially in the hunt for the Norris Trophy. They're not necessarily going to win. I don't think they will. But you have last year's winner, Mark Giordano, who plays for the Calgary Flames.
Right.
Super underrated. If you went around and asked casual hockey fans who Mark Giordano was, you're probably not going to get. They're probably not going to know. And then another one who I think has gotten plenty of Norris trophies in him is Cale McCurr.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Cale
yeah.
McCurr, I think, is the best defenseman this side of Nick Lidstrom. He might not be as good as him, but I don't think there will be anyone better than him.
Oh, he looks so, like on the offensive end and the defensive end, this guy just looks so nice.
It's his rookie year.
Yeah, and that's
That's
amazing.
insane.
His first game was in game 3 of the playoffs against the number 1 seed Calgary Flames last season. And they,
And he scored.
yeah,
Yeah.
the Avalanche scored 6 points that game. They dominated the Flames. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
awesome.
No,
He also had the assist in Gabriel Landeskog's game-winning goal in Game 6 against the Sharks. So,
I mean, would you guys agree that he's probably rookie of the year?
there's nobody.
I don't think that's even
The
a
only
question.
the only
Victor
person,
Olofsson's
yeah, I was gonna say that's the
close.
only argument you could have is he's had a pretty good impact with the Buffalo Sabres this year, but
And I don't think he
It's-
missed any time with injury.
no, it's
but,
nowhere
like,
near the impact Cale McCurr has.
And like McCurr didn't miss enough time with injury to get taken out either.
Through 30 games, he was up over a point per game as a defenseman. The only defenseman recently to do that was Brett Burns in his fantastic season when he won.
Yeah.
And then McCarr's playing defense too. He's not just that offensive
Yeah,
defenseman
for sure.
that's playing.
That's the thing that separates him from a guy like Torrey Krug, who he plays defense fine in his own zone. He's not as skilled offensively, but he's also not skilled defensively.
Right.
The fact that McCurr can actually play a little bit of defense, opposed to other like Erik Karlsson. Like, how many times have you watched the Sharks where he's kind of out of position and he's he's an
Someone's
offensive
skating
defenseman.
right past
Yeah,
him,
he's an
yeah.
offensive defenseman. That's what he is. But Cale McCurr, I mean, granted, he could probably get better in the D zone. He's not a shutdown demon
He's
yet.
also like 20 years old.
Yes,
So-
that was my next point.
Yeah.
He's got about, what, 20 years to figure it out? I think he
Lord,
will,
Yeah. That kid might actually get $10 million
as a
year.
D-man. Yeah,
Like,
that wouldn't
as
shock
a
me.
22,
Yeah, no.
like a 22-year-old D-man.
I don't know about that
That's
yet.
a little young to
That's
be getting
that's
paid
a little,
that much
yeah.
money.
He's also a
That's
little
Connor
young.
McDavid money, but he's not quite the Connor McDavid
Yeah.
D.
Well, McDavid's getting 12.5.
Yeah.
So, who knows? I could see McCarr getting 10, especially with Erik Karlsson getting, I think, 11.5, 11.8 right now.
All right, let's move on to Vezina.
I mean, I spoiled this one on radio earlier, but for those who do not listen to our radio program, I think it's Ben Bishop.
I think it's Jimmy Howard.
That poor guy this year. The worst defense in the league in front of him.
If anybody can, for 3 straight games, not give up 3 goals on with the Red Wings defense, Vezina. Game
that
over.
Automatically deserves the Vezina.
Vezina, you win it. Guess what? With your 4.5 goals a game average.
I mean, even if you can just like not allow 5, you're going to be in the running.
Yeah. Feel so bad for Jimmy Howard.
Oh, man, all those dudes.
Do you have an actual pick?
I like Ben Bishop.
Ben Bishop.
Yeah.
For the sake of not all 3 of us agreeing, I'm going to go with Darcy Kemper.
Okay.
Before Darcy Kemper got hurt, he's the goalie of the Arizona Coyotes. Once again, you ask, casual hockey fans, probably not going to know.
Right.
And I feel like it's just mostly West Coast bias because usually as an adult, you're going to bed at about 10 o'clock because you have to get up for work.
You're not staying up for those 10 o'clock games.
I mean,
As much as I want to watch the Oilers.
Yeah.
I'm probably staying up for
Oh,
it.
I am. I 100%.
This one, yep.
This one you have.
I can be a little tired in the morning. You'll be fine.
Darcy Kemper was first in goals against before he got hurt. I don't think he is anymore.
I believe he's still first in save percentage for the goal
Yep.
for starting goalies. Anyway.
Yep, for starting goalies. But the one for backups is his backup, Antti Ranta.
And Antti Ranta's like 6th or 7th in save percentage as well. So he's 1,000% getting traded after the season, I feel like.
Antti Ranta?
I think he's going to get traded after the season, yeah.
I don't know, man. He's not a starter.
I feel like someone would take that chance on him is the thing.
I could see like the Red Wings taking a flyer because they're gonna need someone. Because I don't think Jimmy Howard's coming back next year.
Really?
They got Bernier.
You don't think he's going to be back?
He's also he's a UFA and he's
That's
35.
true.
Yeah, I think
he's getting up there.
He either retires or
Jonathan-
he may be back as a Red Wing, but
Jonathan Bernier's under contract for a year, and I mean he's won the most games for the Wings, so it makes sense to at least like let him come back for a year.
yeah, I mean there's no rush on getting a goalie for the Wings. Not to get off topic, but like
You could put prime Patrick Waugh in this net.
Yeah,
He's got no defense.
you could put one of those nets that only has holes in the corner.
Yeah.
And they're still gonna give up 4 a night.
Exactly. Like, just unfortunate, man.
All right,
It'll get fixed soon.
Hart. Who do you have for the Hart Trophy?
Hart Trophy,
MVP for anyone who doesn't know.
MVP.
Probably should have.
That really. I know I said Nathan McKinnon, but like it can't be anyone other than McDavid this year. I mean, it could be, but I'm going McDavid.
Has McDavid's won it before, hasn't he?
2017.
Yeah, he's only won it once though.
At age 21.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But when Sidney Crosby was the best player in the league, it's not like he won it every year. So they do tend to give it to people. Like Taylor Hall is a prime example. He may not have led the league in any statistical category, but he had 40 points more than like the closest dude on the Devils that year.
I mean, the big thing is like McDavid and Draisaitl as well. Those guys are going to be candidates to lead the league in points every year.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
They've been dragging this team to very nearly first in their division the entire year. So for that reason, I feel like it's good to. McDavid would be a good vote for the Hart Trophy.
So the one thing the NHL does do a good job of, I think, is that they actually pick the most valuable player. Like instead of like baseball, like Mookie Betts has won it before, even though he wasn't that valuable to the Red Sox because the Red Sox were loaded that year.
Best player on best team.
Yeah, the NHL doesn't do that. Like I said, Taylor Hall is a prime example of it because he was nowhere near the top of statistical categories of that year. McDavid, I think, had probably 25 more points than him that year. But because nobody else on his team was at his level, and he did arguably drag a team that wasn't a playoff team into the playoffs with him. I mean, look at them next year. Taylor Hall wasn't as good, and they finished at the bottom of the league. Yeah, that's probably why.
I mean, that's another reason I feel like McKinnon could be in the running because both Landeskog and Rantanen have missed time, and they're still the top scoring team in the league.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if McKinnon got some votes, or if he was top 3.
Yeah, no, it would be a safe bet to guess him for it. I'm just trying to think if there's anybody else like.
Because Crosby's been hurt, so like, no matter what you feel about Crosby, he's out.
I mean, if the Penguins finish top of the league, I mean, you could make a strong case for Gino, Evgeny
true,
Malkin,
you could.
because he did carry them while he was out.
That's true.
And they've been in playoff spot the whole entire year, so.
And they're hot, so hot right now.
Imagine
Makes me
that
so
when you
nervous.
get, the person who's the face of the NHL back on your lineup, that you get better for you know.
And they were already playing good without him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that worries about me about Pittsburgh when they do finally get to the Cup is that the loss of Jake Gensel. That is a huge loss. He's
Absolutely
a playoff
huge.
guy that's done it year in, year out. And I don't know if they can replace him. I mean, maybe they can bring in a Chris Kreider of the New York Rangers, but
Like, I feel like Chris Kreider's the best, like, top 6 winger you can bring for a contender.
Yeah.
Like, he's the only guy that you're going to be able to get. Nobody's going to move anyone else.
but you're gonna have to give up a little bit to get him.
Especially, like, if you're the Penguins getting something from the Rangers, I feel like that'd be a little tougher. I don't know. It's expiring contract.
All right, so we're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about a little bit about the theories that GMs have if you're willing to trade to an interdivisional opponent.
Yes.
So this is something that we definitely do not agree on. Do you have a problem with trading a player from your team that's going to be on that team for a while that has years left on their contract? Do you have a problem trading them within your division?
No, because if you're getting something in return that you need, I don't see the issue with that, if that makes sense.
Because I feel like it depends on the return you're getting, and it feel like it also depends on, like, how much is what you're giving up helping the other team.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go with Dylan Larkin, for example. That's the one we used through text, right?
Tomas Tatar.
Or it's Tomas Tatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tomas Tatar, when we traded him, had 2 years left on his deal. And say Pittsburgh offered the same package that Vegas did for Tomas Tatar, which was a first, a second, and a third.
Yep.
Just because, who did I say? Did I say Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Vegas
Because
and
they're
Pittsburgh.
not in our division. That does not make sense. So how about we go with Tampa Bay?
Right.
So imagine Tampa Bay offers you a first, second, and a third for Tomas Tatar. Are you taking that?
Yeah.
I would rather, like, give it to Vegas, but
Well, okay, we're just saying, like, this is the best offer you got. Say Vegas didn't offer that. I mean, obviously, yeah, if you had the choice. If you would have had the choice, yeah, you would have thought, you probably would have picked Vegas because you would think they were picking closer to the top even though they didn't.
truth.
So this is the only offer. Everyone else is only offering you, say, a second and a third.
Yeah, if you're getting that extra first-round pick, then, like, definitely.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, that makes a huge difference,
How about
yeah.
first and a third? Vegas is offering you a first and a third. Tampa is offering you first, second, and third.
Yeah, that extra second, that is huge. If you're
I
getting a full
still
extra
think
second.
I would trade to Tampa.
I have absolutely no problem trading within your own division.
Yeah.
Like, I would have a lot more reservations about it, especially if you can make a quick turnaround and then boom, if you're meeting this team in the playoffs and then Tomas Tatar is playing against you in the playoffs, that just hurts.
See, the thing, though, is without trading Tomas Tatar, you're not making the playoffs. That extra pick turned out to be Joe Valeno, who's probably going to be
Yeah.
your second-line center in the future.
That's true, but we got that pick from Vegas and not Tampa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying it equals out the same way.
That's true. Like, if you get a whole bunch and if that pick hits, then inevitably it does.
Yeah, the pick hitting is up to you, though.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, is that, anyone else got any
I
other
think so.
topics?
I think that covers it for this week.
I mean, if you could pick a Stanley Cup matchup and a champion right now.
Oh, a matchup that I want in the Cup final right now?
Yeah, let's go with what you want to see out of current playoff teams. How about that? Not who you necessarily think. but who you
I want?
Yeah.
Oh, this is easy. Edmonton, Pittsburgh.
Oh.
Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby.
I wanted Edmonton.
I was going to say
Washington.
Edmonton, Washington. Yeah, that's
Edmonton
what
and
I was
Washington.
thinking.
Reason.
Because first of all, I'd love to see
Oh,
McDavid win a cup, and I'd also love to see Ovi win another cup.
I
So
wanna
it's a win-win.
I am the exact opposite. I
Really?
don't care if Ovi wins another cup.
You already saw him win one, and you're like, oh, he's fine. He won one.
I went to that parade. No, but Ovechkin's an all-time talent, don't get me wrong. He's probably got the best chance of breaking Wayne Gretzky's record of probably anyone ever going to come along.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
He just has that scoring knack. If he was in Wayne Gretzky's era, he probably would have scored 4,000 in his
If he was in
career.
Wayne Gretzky's era, he'd have broken Gretzky's record a long time
Gretzky
ago.
would have never held the
Yeah.
record.
Bingo.
But
Imagine those two on the same team, by the way. Oh, my God.
yeah, that wouldn't be any fun. But
No.
just back to what I was saying is Ovechkin. I don't know. It just does. I don't really care to see him win another cup. I thought for years he was lazy in the playoffs. He wouldn't get back and play defense, and I'm pretty sure that costed the Capitals a bunch of cups.
Oh, Lord, at least two against Pittsburgh, you'd feel
Yeah.
like.
I want to see the
Crosby
face
and McDavid.
versus the face. Whoever wins this face of the NHL, best.
yeah.
Well, not necessarily best player in the world, but like
Bragging rights.
bragging rights for sure.
How would you feel about Colorado versus Pittsburgh? Because that's like Colorado's top
I'd
line.
rather see Colorado play Boston.
Colorado and Boston would be nice. How about Colorado and Tampa?
Not so. The
You
thing
see,
about
Tampa just hasn't been successful.
the thing that really stands out to me about Colorado and Boston. Look at the team structures. You have that top line in Boston of Pasternak, Bergeron, Marchand.
Right.
You have the top line in Colorado of McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog.
Yep.
You have a young stud defenseman in Cale McCurr for Colorado. You have a young stud defenseman in Charlie McAvoy in Boston.
Yeah.
You have, a wily offensive puck moving offensive defenseman Torrey Krug in Boston, and you have that with Samuel Girard in Colorado.
That's true.
I just think the two teams, outside of goaltending, Boston has way better goaltending than Colorado does.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Tuukka Rask, I don't know what it is in Boston that people don't like about him. Actually, I do have a theory about it. It's because Tim Thomas was like this everyman, and he looked like he was working really hard because he had no technique. He just flailed. Very similar to Dominic Hasek.
Hasek. You
Where
gotta love
Tuukka
Hasek.
where Tuukka Rask is, square to the shooter, making everything look predominantly easy. Any other matchups that you'd like to see?
I mean, I'm out here saying that, Colorado and Edmonton are the two teams I want to see make it. Outside of,
I'd like to see Calgary. I love Johnny Hockey.
I want to see any Canadian
Do
team
you think
make
Calgary's good enough to be a contender, like a serious champion this year?
They need to add another, some other, scoring piece, whether it be depth or something, because they cannot score.
Yeah.
I think a good pickup for them would be J.A. Peugeot of the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, it's John
Yeah.
Peugeot.
Yeah, or JG, I'm sorry. He just picked up his 20th goal last night. I mean, he's not a perennial 20-goal scorer. It's his first time ever.
But he's hot.
He's gritty. I think the Flames, if you put him and Matthew Tkachuk on the same line, that's going to stir
dangerous.
the pot.
Lord,
They're
yeah.
going to score goals, and they're going to punch people in the mouth.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
But the biggest thing for the Calgary Flames that they need is they need Johnny I almost said Johnny Monahan. No, Johnny Gaudreau and Sean Monahan. So they need to be the players they were because they both had 90-plus points last year.
For sure. Now, the St. Louis Blues, do you see them having really any competition in the West in reality?
Colorado.
Anyone other than Colorado? Because we know
Because Colorado's crushed them.
Yeah,
both times they
Colorado
played.
was chased Bennington twice in the Pepsi Center.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put much stock into that
I
because
don't either, but that's just.
Yeah. They will have. I think Dallas will put up a good fight because they're so strong defensively.
Oh, yeah, and then
if they score 3 goals, they're probably winning that game.
And Ben Bishop is just so good.
He's 6'8", and
Yeah.
he moves well too.
He moves so fluidly, and he's old, but that doesn't even matter.
Koskinen is
not
the
old.
same size in Edmonton.
This is what I
But
do
he
every
does
time I hear about Mikko Koskinen, all right?
He does not move as fluidly as Ben Bishop does.
Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith is better than Mikko Koskinen.
Yeah. That's what I think is probably going to hold Edmonton back is their defense and goaltending.
Their defense especially. I mean, if the scoring depth can stay hot like it's been the past few games before the All-Star break, then they could do it, but I don't know if I trust that. That's the problem. And their defense, yikes.
All right, is that it for this one?
I think that's
so.
all.
I believe so.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for joining us for this week's episode of 10 Minute Misconduct. I'm Kevin Lepper.
I'm Aaron Poling.
I'm Mayor McClorey, and remember, lose for Lafreniere.
Yes, that. We'll see you next week.